Hello, Jim here. Today, not the planned video that I was going to do, but one that should be quite interesting anyhow. What we've got today is we've got this knob here, which as you can see is quite clearly smashed, and we're going to be replacing it with a nice polished cherry knob. And this incidentally is off of an old tripod that I've got, which I wish to put back into service. Anything to save me a little bit of money. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So on with the video. Okay, so this is the tripod stand. I've had it for donkey's years, but unfortunately I lent it to somebody, and when they gave it back they'd broken this knob. So what we're going to try and do is replace it, or fix it, do something with it so that we can use it easier. I mean, I can still use it, but it's not very good. So we'll see how we get on with that. First off, we just take this out, and you can see it. So there we go. That's what we're looking at. We've got a little collar on there. That has to go on there to ride against the housing here. So we'll drop that off, and that's what we're looking at. Now I think there's either going to be a head of a nut in there or a knurling. If I had a 3D printer, I'd print a new knob and fix it in that way, but I haven't got one at the moment. It's on my to get list eventually, one day. Yeah. So yeah, what we're going to try and do is replace this piece. Okay. So what we've got, I've got some old cherry hardwood left over from a job. So I've cut a circle out of that using a hole saw. I would have shown you me cutting it out, but it's an embarrassment seeing the inside of my shed. So we're going to try and make that into a new knob, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is try and put a little bit of shape on this. The hole saw didn't cut it perfectly, so I want to round this edge over and just give it a little bit of a smooth. So I've got some old sandpaper that goes for a sander that I no longer have, so it's ideal just to use this. So all we're going to do is just slowly, by hand, work an edge on this and round it over a little bit. Okay, so after a little bit of sanding and such like, that's what we've got at the moment. So all I've done is just rounded this edge off a little bit and done the same with the bottom, just taken a very slight edge off that plane. So what's next? Well, what we need to decide is whether to take this plastic off of the bolt, or do we try and fit it with this large bit in there? The problem with that, I don't know if you can see, it's about the same thickness for there. So if you was to drill a large centre hole in there and mount it like that, you'd have quite a large part of the black sticking out. So I think the best option is to try and get the black plastic off of here. It's more like a Bakelite, I don't know if it is. But we'll get this off and we'll have a look to see what the bolt actually looks like. Because we're going to use epoxy resin to actually mount it in there anyhow, so even if it's just knurling in there, it should be enough to hold it in there. So I'll go and strip this off and have a look, see what it looks like. Okay, so using highly sophisticated and technical skills, I managed to take the black thing off. Basically just taking it outside and hitting it with a hammer. We can see it's knurlings on there, which is good. That's fine. So what I now need to do is drill a hole in the centre of this, slightly bigger, not much bigger, but slightly bigger, down in the centre of there, so that we can mount this in. I don't want to go all the way through. I want to have a blind hole in there so that we can mount it through like that. So I'm going to go out to the shed again and drill that hole, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with the edging. We could just leave it round. It's big enough that you'd get a good enough grip on that, or we could put some knurlings inside of it, call them knurlings, just to give you a little bit of grip. I'll have a think about that one. I quite like them plain, but we'll have a think. Anyhow, I'll go and drill a hole. Okay, so there we go. They've drilled a hole roughly in the centre. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it was an engineering project, then it would have to be perfectly in the centre, but just for this, it's only a knob on a screw. So it's drilled out, haven't gone right the way through, and we're big enough for that to just slot in, like so. I've also found a washer to go on as well, so that will go like so. Reason being for that is you've got a metal collar here that's going to be rubbing up against it, and you really don't want metal rubbing up against wood because it will just wear it away. So we've got a little washer to go on there. So next thing, we need to mix up some epoxy, and I've got this little twin pack of epoxy. This one's Gorilla, but there are loads of different makes of epoxy. It's pretty much the same stuff. This is very simple to use. So we'll get some sheets down just to protect this top, and I've got a little scrap of plastic that's just going to go in the bin that we'll mix it up onto, and then we'll epoxy that into the hole. Okay, so we've got a bit of tissue down just to protect the top, and we've got, as I say, this little scrap of broken plastic that's just going to go in the bin, which is ideal just for mixing up a little bit of epoxy for doing this job. So with this, we just take off the end cap like so, and it squeezes out in equal portions, which is what you want. So excuse my hands getting in the way. Squeeze out a bit of epoxy, if we can get it to come. There we go. And that should be enough for what we want. Put the cap back on. That's it, and that'll save us for the next time. And now to mix it, all we've got is this little stick thing, and we just give it a good mix. So it's equal part resin and equal part hardener, and we give it a good mix. Okay, so that should be mixed enough. So what we'll do, we get this bolt, and we'll stick plenty of that onto the bolt itself. And we'll try and work some of that into the hole. Okay, and that should be enough. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the washer straight on top of it so that the washer is actually set as well. And just use that to push that down, like so, so that's nice and flush. And we'll leave that to set. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so I've left it about, I don't know, about an hour I suppose, and the epoxy resin has virtually cured hot, solid. Little tiny bit tacky on there, but within 24 hours that will be rock solid, won't move at all. So all I've got left to do now with this is just give it a little bit of a finish up. I'm probably not going to coat it, I'm probably just going to leave it bare wood. I actually quite like the look, and the age, once it ages it will darken and the true cherry colours will come out. I might put some button polish on it if I've got some. I'm not sure if I've got any of that left. But there you go, that's the job completed. Quite simple, and should do the job. So, another job jobbed. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to stick some wax on it. This is just untinted beeswax. It's an old tin. You can see that. I've had it absolutely years, but it's ideal for this. So we're going to stick a bit of that on there. The way we're going to do it, we'll just get a cloth and we'll get some of the beeswax, furniture wax, whatever, onto the cloth. It's a bit crumbly where it's old, like so. And I've mounted the piece into my drill. That just helps to give it a final sand. And all I'm going to do is just rotate it onto there, nice and slow, to get a good coat on across the top. It is cheating a little bit using a drill, but hey ho, whatever works. Yeah, it's got a nice coating on there. Get a fine little wipe round. Now we'll just leave that for a few minutes, let that soak into it a bit, and then we'll buff it up. Again, I'll probably use the drill to do that. Okay, I've given the wax a little bit of time to harden, and now what we're going to do, again I'm going to cheat with the drill because it makes it so much easier. Get me microfiber cloth, put it into the middle of there, and just run my drill. And there we go. One finished and polished knob. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please like and subscribe if you did. I need people to subscribe so I can get my number count up. All to do with the algorithms for YouTube. But there we go. Yeah, quite pleased with that. Right, catch you next time. Bye for now.